So, but Mountain Sage Healing, you were definitely going to add into what you said because Richard's Remedies is all about healing. So, what do you say to help add and put out that fire?
Yeah, so we tend to store emotions like fear, loss, grief. We store that right in the lungs, and it really affects our breathing. It affects what comes out of us. We start to breathe from our chest and not from our diaphragm. We end up getting all stressed out, and it makes us all tense. And really, one of the best ways to do that is to let go of what is being held in the lungs. And there are a lot of different ways we can do it. We can approach it, from a more emotional, mental perspective. We can say, okay, this is how I'm feeling. I accept that, but I'm choosing to focus on something different, something better, the outcome that I want to see. And we can also approach it from the physical. So the physical can also cure the emotional. So with things like the lungs, things like eucalyptus, tea, warm tea, one of the things that I like to do is I'll take a warm bowl and fill it with boiling water, add an essential oil like eucalyptus or rosemary that really opens up the air passages, and I'll throw a towel over my head and I'll just breathe in that warm steam. And it turns around like that. It's calming. You end up releasing all the tension that's in your chest. And once you start to get into that pattern over and over again, all of a sudden you notice regularly you're standing straighter, your breathing is more clear, your voice is more clear, you're not holding on to things, you're letting things go, and all of a sudden you're happy and content and in your space.
Mountain Sage Healing Arts. I love this part of the show. It's towards the end. Everybody gets to relax. Hopefully, everybody has their cup of tea. What are you going to do for us today, Richard?
Well, I was thinking, just to keep with the theme of the show, to talk a little bit about preparedness and how we can do that from an emotional and mental perspective. And I want to talk about this exercise that I do. And before I go into a situation, regardless of what it is, maybe it's getting onto a sports team, maybe it's getting into a specific college, whatever it is, what I do first is I sit down with myself and say, what are my limiting beliefs? So what do I think about what it is that I'm going into? What are my expectations and what are my core beliefs about it? And it really requires knowing yourself and being pretty introspective, which, you get better at with practice. And what I do is I write down all of those doubts, fears, and limiting beliefs in a big list. And then I cross them out, and next to them I write the positive intention. So let's say it's getting into college, and I'm saying, well, I don't actually think I'm going to get into this college because I'm not good enough. Well, I'm going to cross that out and I'm going to write, I am good enough. I can get into this college. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cycle that through my head on a regular basis. So whenever I'm not engaged in conversation or not doing anything, I'm going to be saying to myself, I can do this. I am good enough. I deserve to have this, whatever. So the idea is to really unwrite your negative thoughts and change them into positive ones. So we want to focus on the positive outcome on the end and live in that end. And what we'll realize is that things will start to shift to get us to that end. But the thing is, if we have like a lot of limiting beliefs, what's going to happen is you're going to end up seeing things that are contrary to what it is that you want. And this is where persistence comes in. And you really have to stick to your goal and keep to the end result. And in a way that you can't possibly imagine, it will end up happening. And you will start to see you really will start to see things that will indicate the complete opposite. And what you have to do is just say, okay, this is still leading me to what I want. This is part of a bridge of incidences. This has to happen to get me to what I want. And what you're doing is you're erasing all of the negativity from yourself. You're drilling it out of yourself. You're only living in the positive. And that way, no matter what happens, whether you get it or not, you will get it if you really focus on the end and don't have limiting beliefs anymore. But if for some reason you don't, you're okay. It doesn't matter because you're happy and you're not feeling negative. You're not holding in those negative beliefs. And this is also really important as it relates to issues like anxiety. So again, in my opinion, to really be prepared, the best thing we can do is to sit with ourselves and say, what is causing me to not be prepared? What are my expectations and what is the story I'm telling myself about what it is that I want to get? Do I want to get into a college? What grade do I want to get on a piece of paper? What's the story I'm telling myself? And then changing that story. And every single thing that pops up into my reality, every single thing that I see, assuming that that is still leading me to get me to where I want to go. And as long as you can stay focused on that clear path in front of you, you will get there. And if for some reason you have enough limiting beliefs that you don't get to that specific thing, another path will open up and you will get to something better, because you're living in positivity, you're living in gratitude, and you're focusing on the end and you're feeling the end.
Great. So Christine, Dominique, and Sloan, we're going to have you all three chime in. Christine, what say you?
Oh gosh, I had a thought that came and then it flitted out. But that sense of really just allowing for, I know what it is, about being in the moment. You can be as prepared as you can, but also staying in the moment. Because when you stay in the moment, as we stay in the moment, as I stay in the moment and breathe, I'm very much aware of the things that are coming. If I'm so worried and I can't, and I'm still trying to make something happen, I don't even see the happenings that are coming. So it's about really breathing, staying prepared, staying calm, staying in this space to really see that the openings are happening all around us. That's been and so I love to do the thoughts and creating our realities, and then being aware of when our reality is coming towards us and saying yes.
This is great, because our kids today are going through something. I know that with their attention span, I can't even wrap my brain around all the emotions they're going through. So information like this that, an adult can pass on, or we have a lot of an older community also that listens to the show. I mean, they could be the wise grandparents and share this information. So really, at the end of the day, it's about building a really strong teen and child community. Dominique.
I was just going to add that when I was growing up, journaling and having diaries and stuff like that was a very common practice. And so we need to be encouraging our teens and our kids, make use of writing and write these things down. And as Richard said, if you write down something negative, write it down, put a line through it, and put it in a positive statement and help yourself out. That's really fantastic.
Nice. Sloan.
Yeah, our words are so powerful, and definitely our thoughts are things that which we focus our attention on, we create more of, whether it's positive or negative. Great to have a plan, great to be prepared, great to dream big, and then detach from the outcome, because you may get to that goal, but it might end up looking really different from how you had planned or thought it was going to look.
Go back to when you were talking about being persistent in your thought process. Can you repeat that? That was key.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of the times when we want something, what'll happen is we'll start to see things that are showing us that we don't quite have that. But the thing is it takes us a little bit of time to turn our thoughts around, and it takes a little bit of time for reality to catch up with us, to catch up with what we want. Once we start to focus on that goal, it's not going to be all at once, because we still have so many negative things that we have to drill out that we're seeing, these patterns. So as long as we focus on the outcome and persist in that, what we want is going to happen the way we want it to.
I think when he said that, persistence is really the key in accomplishing things. You can't get waylaid. If there's a big boulder in your road, but you want to get down that road, well, you got to get whatever tool you have, you got to break that boulder into gravel, and you can get through gravel. But it takes a certain a driven persistence to get through those obstacles, and you can't lose sight of it. Things don't come easy. And when he said that word persistent in the thought process, that just lit me up, man, because you got to be dogged. You got to be a dog on the bone, man.
Yeah, but as well as I do, I know Bill's in the shower. It's like, winner, New York pizza dinner. Let's take a The Queen or Teen. We'll be back with more after these messages.